My name is Kaylee Scanlon, and I will be talking about my low-tech communication device, which I designed for the case study student, John. John is a nonverbal 7-year-old boy who has cerebral palsy and no assistive technology. My assumptions for John are that he has inadequate movements of his arms and fingers to allow him to point to words or items, but he is capable of eye control and head movements and has significant cognitive skills. With the direction of the physical therapist, we would focus on the correct head placements for responses utilizing this low-tech device to facilitate answers or requests from John. The low-tech device created for John would initially use the four corners of the board to indicate his responses for the created task. His responses would coincide with the X coordinates location of the proposed responses. There would be proposed responses in the upper left, upper right, lower left, and lower right-hand corners of the plastic see-through lid. Everything would be double-sided so that the facilitator and the student are looking at the same information. My first activity for John is a reading and writing activity. With my assumptions, since John's hands would not allow him to actually write the sentence, this low-tech device would enable him to procedurally write the sentence with the motion of his eyes and head in the direction of each word to formulate the sentence in its correct order. As you can see, there are 4 words on this device. Cognitively, John can understand directions he is merely prevented from verbally answering. The instruction would be, formulate the appropriate sentence with these words. I would follow his eye gaze and the movements to motion the accurate order of the words. In this example, I would be looking for Ben went to school. As a special education teacher, there are activities that many of my students must always have forethought and direction. Sometimes this is most difficult for those nonverbal students, such as John. My low-tech device can be customized to ask him if he needs to go to the bathroom after a completion of a lesson or activity. It is a simple yes or no, but it still would be utilizing the eye gaze and head motions to indicate if he needed to use the facilities located in the upper left or if he did not, located in the lower right. My second activity is one that I would call in my classroom as manding or requesting for items. In John's case, these manding sessions would look more like things that might be physically challenging for him to do, but he might have interest in, such as listening to music, drawing, reading, and going outside. So let's say he motioned to drawing. Then the board can switch to create different colors used to create his pictures. And the colors themselves are reinforced with the words, as you see here, red, green, yellow, and blue. So if he wanted to color such as this picture here, like a race car, I would ask him, what are we going to make the race car number? And then he could move his eyes and tell me the color. So let's say he said blue. So he could move his eyes and tell me that he wanted to color it blue. And the teacher would do so. So now the picture of the race car number is colored blue. This way he would be able to see his so-called artwork be brought to life since he himself and see himself as the artist by the colors he picked out. As John progresses educationally with the low-tech device, it too can be expanded. In addition to the X coordinates, which were demonstrated, the device can be expanded to either 6 or 8 plus on the plus coordinates. To alleviate any confusion, the plus coordinates would require a double head motion up with an eye gaze, or a double head motion down, or a double head motion to the left or to the right, along with the eye gaze gestures. Then the plus coordinates can be incorporated to the X coordinates in order to allow for more advanced responses. Adding the plus coordinates and the X coordinates together creates a larger grid of responses. Where we started with a 4-word sentence, can now be an 8-word sentence, such as this one. Ben went to school and read a book. Similarly, any other lesson can be progressed from a simple to more complex. The board can keep morphing into further education that is going on for him. This low-tech device would provide John a voice in his education that he might not otherwise have, and I feel his ability to learn would certainly be enhanced. Because this low-tech device operates through many visuals levels, it will not cause a disruption in the classroom, as well as coordinating with any PT requirements with her IEP goals. The physical restrictions of students like John should only restrict them in their physical capability, but not their ability to communicate and learn. A low-tech device can still offer the necessary means and opportunity to participate in the educational experience, to learn and grow, and to provide the necessary secondary form of communication. Thank you for listening to my rationale on the low-tech communication device.